So let's look at how to create an event tag. But before we jump into the video and discuss the event creation, let's go ahead and define what an event is. So an event refers to any user interaction that can be measured independently from your web page or screen load. So as you can see, this form fill out is a perfect example of an event. Although the page is already loaded, and which is tracking in Google Analytics, we want to see how many people click that get started and fill out the form. So some other examples of event examples would be button clicks anywhere on your website, form submission, video plays, which I mentioned previously, link clicks, which could be links in themselves or additional internal links on your website and even email, as well as many, many more. Now, events are defined by a couple different things. First, your event category, event action, event label, as well as an event value you can assign.
So I think just to pause there is important because maybe everybody in the audience is aware of this, maybe some people aren't. But when you set up just Google Analytics on the website, let's say you're even using Google Tag Manager to deploy the code, but you're just deploying the general Google Analytics tracking snippet, you're not going to see detail like a button click or a video play or a link click without additional steps, which you're going over right now. So Google Analytics right out of the box, even though it's super, super powerful, isn't going to tell us all the rich detail of what's happening on our site unless we pause and we do additional work. Is that something that it comes across your desk a lot, Tony, in terms of challenges or misconceptions that people have about Google Analytics?
Definitely, I would totally agree with that. A lot of times, because you put analytics on a website, we get that they think that it's going to track every element. And unfortunately, it doesn't because everybody's website is different. So in order to do that, take that extra step and do a little extra work, that's where Google Tag Manager can come into play and help get more of that power out of Google Analytics. And one of these things would be event creation that we're covering today. Okay, so let's look at the tag creation for this event that we're going to create. And today in this example, we're going to want to track how effective a new homepage banner is at getting clicks. How we will track this homepage banner is by creating an event tag in Google Tag Manager that will fire upon the click of a homepage banner. And of course, we're going to set this up so that we have multiple homepage banners, and so we want to see how each one of these is doing and not just this initiative. So we're going to create this to track that as well. So let's go over to the GTM interface. Okay, so once we enter into the Google Tag Manager interface, you'll have this screen right here that you'll see. And over to the left-hand side, we'll click on Tags, which will then take us into our tag area. Then we'll then go to New. And the first thing we're going to want to do is title our tag. Now, we like to give a naming convention to every tag, and I think this is very, very important to do. It'll help streamline everything with your internally to associate tags and triggers together. So one of the first things, or I guess we'd say the naming convention that we like to use, would be first off on who created the tag, followed by the type of tag it is, and then giving the tag a name. We'll then go into the tag configuration, and you can click anywhere in there. And you'll see those featured tags that I mentioned previously in the PowerPoint. We'll click on Google Analytics at the very top, which will be the Universal Analytics tag. We will then go to the track type, and this we will change to event since that's what we're going to be tracking. And you'll notice those category, action, and label boxes pop up for the event tracking parameters. First, we'll give our event tracking parameters a category, and we'll go ahead and make this homepage banner. And that will be the overarching category for everything. Next, for the action, we're going to want to understand what homepage banner was clicked on. And so we'll do the click text for this. And instead of just entering in click text, we're going to want to use a variable. So we'll show you how to do that first. And we'll go ahead and click on the brick, which is going to be to the right of the event action. And here you'll notice a bunch of variables that have popped up. Now, these might not be in your Google Tag Manager account if you just set it up, but it's very simple to go ahead and add these. First, to add these variables, what we're going to do is go off to the upper right-hand corner, and you'll be able to get the whole list of built-in variables. You'll notice to the right there is check marks to the variable type, and this is just letting you know whether it's enabled or not enabled within Google Tag Manager. It's as simple as clicking on the variable you'd like, and it will automatically insert it into the event action for us. You'll see the brackets again around click text, which signifies that it is a variable. And then we'll go down to label, and we'll also insert a variable in there as well. For this, we want to understand the URL that was clicked on. So this will be a backup for us if there wasn't any click text on or alt text on the image that was clicked on. The label that was clicked on will have the click URL where people are going to. So same thing here, we're just going to go ahead and select click URL, and it automatically inserts. We're going to skip over value as well as non-hit interaction and go down to Google Analytics setting. Now, typically when you do this, you're already going to have your Google Analytics variable, which is your GAID, but we'll go ahead and show you how to create this as well. We'll go to New Variable, give our variable a title. For this, it's pretty simple. It's going to be GAID, or the Google Analytics ID. We'll then go to our settings, and all we do is put in our GAID here, or our tracking ID. Once you've done that, click Save, and you've now created your first variable. We can then go on down to triggering. So now that we've done the tag configuration, we want to tell Google Tag Manager when to fire this tag. So go ahead and click anywhere within the triggering box. And once this loads for us, we'll go ahead and have to create a trigger for this. So you'll see all pages, and we have an additional trigger in there. We'll go ahead and create new trigger, give this trigger a title, and we're going to title this the same as our banner or our tag, which is MV homepage banner. We're then going to click in trigger configuration. Within trigger configuration, you'll notice these page view, click, and user engagement, as well as other overarching categories. And under click, we have all elements or just links. We're going to want to do just links for this, since these are links people are clicking on. And of course, we don't want this tag to fire on every link click. So we're going to use some link clicks under this trigger fires on. And you'll notice that what pops up are conditions. These conditions are saying that when all of these conditions are met, to go ahead and fire this tag. So here you'll see that there's multiple things under the left-hand column, or the first column, that you'll be able to select. And because we have a wonderful development team, they have already given us unique IDs for our button or banners that we're clicking on of full-link. So here we know that the click classes will equal full link. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll choose the click classes, and then we'll change the second condition from contains to equal. Now, I know this might be getting a little technical for you, but with the click classes, these are usually not unique on every content management system. So to get with your development department and kind of just unify what types of unique things you might want to be tracking, we'll give them a heads up to go ahead and create unique IDs per image or per button, so they're not blanketed across your site. Now you can add additional conditions, as you see to the right, the plus and the minus sign. What this will do is, let's say you have multiple areas where this click class occurs, like I just stated. If you give it additional elements, such as the page URL, you can specify exactly where this trigger should fire. So not saying that you have to change everything on your website for one image click or banner click. You can actually give an additional conditions to only fire on certain pages. Once we're done with that trigger, we're going to click Save on both the trigger as well as the tag. And then we'll go into the preview mode, which we're going to go ahead and test and preview this. You'll first do this to obviously ensure that your event tag is firing properly, but also make sure that your website is responding properly as well. So you'll click preview in the upper right hand corner, and you'll notice this beautiful orange box that pops up. This is just alerting you that the container itself is in preview mode. Within preview mode, you also have the ability to refresh. You're going to want to refresh anytime, let's say you make changes to your tag while testing, or if you're adding additional tags to it, you definitely want to click refresh because it'll upload the newest version to the debugging mode. Leave preview mode is here as well, and share preview. The share preview you can do internally if you wanted to share this with other members of your department or internally at your company to see what you're testing or what you've created. And keep in mind that anytime someone is logged in with the same user ID in Google Tag Manager, they will also see this debugging mode, which I'm about to show you here. To see it on your website, you would want to Control F5 in Google Chrome, which will be a hard refresh. And you'll notice this box pop up here at the bottom. This will show you in the summary what tags have fired already on your page, as well as some that are just waiting to be fired. So an example would be the homepage banner that we're waiting to fire. So what we'll go ahead and do is click on a banner to see if this fires. You'll notice, that might have been a little too fast. We're not sure which tag fired because it didn't load in the summary. So an easy way to get around this, or a little tip for you, is to go back and in Google Chrome, hold down Control and click. When you do that, what is happening is that it'll open up a separate tab for you on the URL that was clicked on. But if you look down here in the bottom right hand corner, we'll see that that MV homepage event banner has popped up. And it also has fired one time. So this is ensuring that the homepage event banner that we created is firing properly. We're able to see it. And then when we click on that, we can expand it in the summary to see the properties. So what's really cool here is we can check if our variables worked. You'll notice here at the top, the category is homepage banner, which is what we typed in, the overarching category. And then when we scroll down, we'll be able to look at the action, which is the click text of what was clicked on. So this has alt text already coded, as well as the event label, which is passing in the URL that was clicked on. So from this, we can gather that it fired properly and passed in the proper variables that we were looking for. And then the firing triggers, click classes equals full-link. So perfect. Our dev department did a wonderful job again, and this tag has been created in Fire as well. So next, what we're going to go ahead and do is leave preview mode. And to do that, we'll go back to our Google Tag Manager, click leave preview mode, OK, which will reload Google Tag Manager. And then next, we'll go ahead and remove it from our website too, just so we don't cause any confusion later on in the day when we go back to our website. And to do that, just press Control F5 in Google Chrome. All right, so once we have left preview mode, we'll go back to the Google Tag Manager interface. And what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and publish these live to our site. Once my Google Tag Manager pops back up, 1 second. Here we go. You'll notice up in the upper right-hand corner of Google Tag Manager, we're going to want to submit. We'll give this version a name. We also like to use the same naming convention for a version name. So starting off with who created it or a date for it as well. So putting the version and the date next to it is going to be a great thing to put so you'll be able to differentiate which days you had created stuff. Now in the description, we're going to put added homepage banner event tags. This will be helpful when looking at historical container versions. So we can understand that obviously these changes have happened in our workspace, but we might not know exactly what changes were made because if these tags were already created, maybe we change them a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and have a really good description here, so when we look back in the future, we'll have a great understanding of what actually is happening within this container version. Additionally, you might know that with versions, because we're dating them, you can also go back to previous versions. So if you were testing things, or possibly, God forbid, you've deleted something, you can also go back to an older version and kind of put that in there. So let's pop back over to our PowerPoint and just kind of go through a tag creation recap for you. So first, always title your tags, triggers, and variables with a naming convention that you and others can understand. This is going to be very helpful in the future, so that if you have any questions on what was created, you'll be able to see exactly what was done. Variables can help you automate and simplify tag creation. As a best practice for events, always use unique categories, action, and labels. This is going to be very helpful when you're in your event reporting within Google Analytics and are able to see the different events that are happening. This will also help streamline marketing initiatives that you could be tracking and not to get them confused. So obviously, every year you might be running similar marketing initiatives, so being able to date them with unique categories, action, and events is always very helpful. You'll always want to discuss internally with IT how to properly name the elements of your website with unique click classes or IDs that you would like to track. So if there's going to be forms and or homepage banners, always having these being on the same line with your dev or IT department so that they can give these unique click classes or IDs to your different parts of your site before you even put these marketing initiatives out. So getting with them and being on the same level is always a great practice. And lastly, always test and preview your tags before you publish them. Because changes could happen within your website, or depending on if you're using a custom HTML, this is going to become very, very helpful. Rather than breaking part of your site, preview and testing it before you publish is always going to be helpful.